Well, there's two people in particular. We have Mahatma Ghandi. So Gandhi at the time was actually in London, and he met her at the end of her life, Madame Blavatsky.
Okay.
And
Blavatsky.
And she was a vegetarian. Here's a lighter right here.
Damn, that's rare when it goes out.
Shout out to Carlos. And
shout out.
She was a vegetarian and obviously very well versed in the
Hindu or
exactly the Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
And she was telling him, hey, look, as a Hindu man, you should, or as an Indian man, you should really be studying this. And it was to him a kind of like a spook religion that he didn't pay any really attention to. It was something his parents practiced, and kind of like how a lot of people look at Christianity here, like, I don't really care about that shit. And you need an ashtray, or you got it?
No, you're good.
Okay. Bro. And anyways, they're the ones that kind of put him on game. So that's where he got his influence from. And
so they kind of created him.
Exactly, molded him. And what ended up happening was when she died, she left the Theosophical Society to a woman named, I wrote this down, give me 1 second. She left it to
and
a
boom,
woman.
Now it reminds me of why I wanted you to bring that up, because it reminded me of like when you have the discussions about what's the guy that puts a lot of money into foundations like Black Lives Matter today? Soros. Yeah. So of course I'm not just equivalating him to her. I don't know enough to say that. But again, it's the influence of outside people that have us thinking a certain way when we're not really doing the research to see where the funding, where the money's coming from.
Right.
And again, this is a conversation we dug into on an earlier podcast, because at the time when tensions were high, I had to speak very cautiously on how I spoke on that, because there were sensitivities in the Black community with all the police brutality going on. Right. But I was seeing through, the smoke screens, and I'm like, yo, man, we're so up in arms that, we're just not seeing what's really happening, So.
Right. But
yeah, the George Soros and the Antifas and all of those things, we could see that, there was something that was awry, but we kept on acting like, it was, I don't, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like, we're not taking the full picture, the totality of what's going on into account. We're just so narrow-minded, and that's dangerous, because you can be manipulated very easily, and you get behind movements and things, and it's the liberal, the whole liberal thing's been hijacked, and you think you're doing something good, and you've actually been coerced.
Right.
Sorry, did you find this one?
Yeah. No, it's all good. No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
The libs hijack cool, man. They're cool now. So anyway,
goes all the way back to Gandhi, though, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, this guy, sort of in a way. They weren't necessarily libs, but yeah, definitely. There's different people molding things that we're not aware of.
Correct.
Is what you're saying.
Correct.
So, but so Blavatsky, when she passed, she left the Theosophical Society to a woman named Annie Besant. Besant is spelled B as in boy, ESANT. And she ended up as part of a political party that was fighting Britain colonizing India. And obviously she no one cared about that very much. They were pretty pissed off about that. She ended up in jail. Gandhi petitioned to get her out. She gets out of jail, and then he takes her place, and then he's the one that leads the movement from that point on.
Kush and Chemtrails, the world's most dangerous podcast.